Upon entering, forensic investigators decide to use a spiral method of investigation. This method is important to this crime scene because it allows the investigator to start from the outer edge and narrow in on the victim. As we walk up into the scene, we look at our surroundings. We see that the garage door is open, it's a pretty clear blue day, and no one is around. We walk up to the crime scene and see that there is a trash can knocked over. Trash is spilling out everywhere. We then see that the car trunk is open. There is the man who was shot. He has 2 gunshot wounds on his chest, and blood has splattered on the ground next to him. The blood appears to be his own and only his own. We see that he still has a watch on, and he still has a ring on. This could indicate that they didn't steal anything from him. We also see gunshot shellings. There are 3 gunshot shellings on the floor next to him. We also see tire tracks. This is trace evidence, and it's also transient evidence. We then go into the garage of the crime. We notice the trunk is open, but none of the car doors are open. We also notice that there are other cars in the garage, and there's clear evidence that a family is currently living at this home. Yet no one was home at the time of the crime. We then conclude that the murderers attacked the man from the alley. As we examine the scene closer, we see that there is a bat, which could indicate harmful beating upon the victim. The bat is next to the trash cans, and then also the car trunk that's open. This tells us that the man was attacked while he was at his car. As we look at the other evidence, such as the gunshot shellings, we notice something. The first and the second shellings are the same, meaning that they're from the same type of gun. But as we look at the third gunshot shelling, we notice that it's kind of farther away and that it's different, meaning that it's from a different type of gun. This indicates that there were 2 different types of guns used, and probably by more than one person. Overall, there were 2 gunshots to the victim as he was unloading his car. To package the blood samples, the samples must be dry blood and stored in separate coin envelopes. They then can be safely placed into paper envelopes and sealed. To package the bat that was found, the bat must be carefully placed into a sealed bag to examine for any fingerprints. Since the tracks are transient evidence, they are not permanent, so they must also be carefully examined to determine what car was used. The trash can is a hard piece of evidence to conclude, but scientists can swab the trash can in order to find fingerprints, hair follicles, or even clothing follicles. To package the shellings, each shelling can be carefully placed in its own sealed bag. This can determine which type of gun was used in the killing and can also link the gun to the killer. Overall, forensic scientists can conclude that the man was shot by his killers as he was unloading groceries from his car. Foul play was involved since there was a bat and beatings were found on the victim. There was no one in sight at the time of the crime. After an extensive amount of research and investigation, it was found that the victim's killers were 2 20-year-old males who were hiding behind the trash cans and surprise attacked the victim. They used a baseball bat to first off scare the victim by beating him down, and then it appears as if they had tried strangling him. They tried to maybe steal his watch because his watch was a little misplaced. but instead they just ended up shooting the victim and ran away. But the tire tracks, we tracked it down and to the type of car that they drove, which is a Ford F-150. Um, on the baseball bat, we did find fingerprints. We also found hair follicles and clothing follicles on the garbage can. So all those pieces of evidence helped us conclude and narrow down our search of suspects, and thus we found our two killers.